Hello and welcome. So, here we are at last. A video I hoped I wouldn't have to make, but I did. So, after seeing several doctors, at this point of being like about 3 months now, getting way too ridiculous how long it took, but they want to remove my gallbladder. So, my gallbladder is not working at its full efficiency. Now, I don't have stones in it. It's just not doing its job properly. Apparently, in the medical world, they want your gallbladder to be working at least 35%. Mine is currently doing 26%, and I did ask the doctor on that, and that it can't get better. It can only, at best, stay where it's at and decline. So, they did recommend surgery, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, on the upside, gallbladder surgery is one of the most common surgeries, and it's not considered very complicated, and it's very rare for anything bad to happen during it, usually. But just like any kind of procedure, you never know. Sometimes the simplest things can always be one person's downfall. For anyone who's a fan of that one series, Wooey, that Rooster Teeth was associated with, the original animator for that died during what was considered a simple procedure. He ended up having an allergic reaction to one of the medications they used during his operation, and he sadly passed away from that. So, sometimes it's just unknown things that people didn't even know was an actual thing. And probably the two common things that would probably be the biggest problems during this would be if a doctor royally fucks up or I don't wake up. Which is, of course, one of the few reasons I'm going to go ahead and do the surgery now versus later. For those who don't know about, like, the sleeping gas shit that doctors use, when you go under for surgery and that. As you get older, that basically has a greater chance of you just not waking up. The older you are, the more likely you could be susceptible to going into a coma after being introduced to that. So, I'm not necessarily a spring chicken, but I'm also not super old. The doctor doesn't feel like there's any real risks for me. So, hopefully there is nothing that'll go wrong, but I've mentioned this a few times before. As somebody who's watched YouTube since its beginning to now, there are many people who have vanished. Sometimes their channels and stuff still exist, and other times they're just completely gone. But I'm sure many of you who've watched YouTube for at least half of its life, if not a majority of it, likely can point to one or two channels at least. Well, you don't know what happened to the cradle. Did they quit? Did they just abandon it? Did they no longer have the heart to make content? Did they die? Did they get married and went off to have a happy ending? Who knows? Did they die during a disaster of some kind? Were they kidnapped? We don't know. Many of these channels, we don't ever get to actually know the answer. And as somebody who has many channels that fall under that, I don't wish to personally fall in that. I wish people to know what happened if something does happen to me. And that's kind of the point of this video. I am going to have surgery on Tuesday, the 25th of October. It should be simple, and it should not turn into anything bad, but there can always be that little percentage that's basically the equivalent of winning the lottery, where something could go horribly wrong. It's very unlikely, but it's possible, and I have to consider that possibility as somebody of probability. of calculations and possibilities. And like I said, I don't want to leave people wondering what happened to me if something does happen. So how I'm going to do this is simply, you'll see this video and you'll get the context of that. And after the surgery, I'll probably need a day or two to likely rest, because the doctor did say it will likely hurt for a while. And yeah, so depending on the pain, I might not necessarily do a video instantaneous. Though I will probably tweet something, though, so you can always go there to check out. But basically, if you don't see any kind of tweet or video relatively in a few days from Tuesday to after Tuesday the 25th, I'm not necessarily saying instantaneously panic, but obviously, if you're watching this and it's been a year and you see absolutely no other content, yeah. So, with that said, again, with the possibility if something could go wrong, I do want to put out there that I am very thankful for all you. All of you have encouraged me to continue making content and to keep being myself versus wading into the horrible crap that YouTube has became, and has encouraged me to continue forward in my life and bettering myself. My community has always been full of many interesting and colorful people of different beliefs and that, but I like to think we all were at least all grown adults and could agree to disagree on things, but agree to have fun and enjoy each other's company and that. And over the last 2 years, I've met many new friends through VR and have gotten much better health exercising in VR, meeting many friends, and finding other activity and hobbies, and socializing a little bit more than I ever done really before. Whether you find that cringy or not. But, so, I just want to say I'm thankful for all of you. For those who have been kind to me, who've supported me, who've gave to me, whether it be kind words, support, money, or just things. Like, I'm always grateful for TK, who gave me full body, which I'm not wearing at the moment. I'm in half body because I'm letting those charge right now. But I'm always thankful to TK, because that was something I was probably not going to get until like around this point in time, if TK had not given me those. So, which allowed me to be, fully immersed in workouts and such, and so on, events and beyond that. I've had many people from the beginning to now who've given me things, from words to things, and I'm very thankful for all of you. I feel like we've done a lot of good. We might not have been the biggest or the greatest or the mightiest out there on the internet, but if there's anything I can be proud of my community and the people I know, is that we're good people. We try to care for each other and help. We're not out there being terrible people, wounding other people's lives and shit. There's so much of that in this world, people hurting each other and stuff. And I'm proud that we, for the most part, have stayed away from that kind of shit. So, some incidents, like with like G4 burning right now, which is something I hope to make a video if my surgery goes fine. Things like that, we poke and make fun. It's like, well, who didn't see that happening and that? But we don't get in there involved in the shit like, well, people doxing and shit. That thing, like, that stuff's always getting ridiculous all the way. It's like, point, laugh, move on. But I'm really thankful to everyone it means a lot to me. And there's a lot of people I miss that I haven't heard from in a long time. And in a similar vein, like how I said, there's a lot of people I used to watch that had vanished over time and stuff. And in the same way, there's even viewers that are like that to me. Viewers I used to talk to a lot who have just vanished. Whether they moved on, something happened, they died, who knows. Maybe one day they'll return. I've had a few poke in and be like, hey, I remember you. I remember your Earth Defense Force video. Or, hey, I remember a review from you from a long time ago. It's nice to see you actually still doing content. Or, hey, life's been a bit rough for me, but my grandma's been in a bad position and things, but it's nice to see that you're still doing stuff, and I'm glad you're doing fine. I'm glad to see when somebody shows that they're still out there. In this cool world that is pretty cold to most people, I'm glad that we all could get along here and enjoy good content, cultural, Japanese stuff, and good video games. And sometimes bad ones. But likely there shouldn't be anything that goes wrong, but, like I said, there's always that possibility. So, as for if something was to happen, what would happen to all my stuff? To be honest, because this is all short notice, I don't actually have a will, and sadly, I'm not really, it's such a short notice, I'm not even really sure what to do on that. So I'm still debating how I want to try and do something like that. Because the odds are it's not really necessary, but again, there's always a chance. So I'm not really sure in that way. Like, in a way, I would love all my stuff to be shared amongst the people I love, but that's getting really nitty-gritty and needing to know what kind of things they're interested in, because I don't necessarily always know what everyone might like. So it kind of makes it complicated when I only have a few days before the operation. So, and I've spent all this week trying to go through HR and stuff, because HR has been an immense pain. I literally spent all week trying to get this stuff all set up with HR, and it's just been a pain in the fucking ass. But I don't want to get on that, because I always had way too much ranting on it with other friends about that today, and that's not what this video is about, obviously. Now, in that regards, though, if the surgery is fine and everything, the doctor recommended at the minimumist of not lifting anything for 6 weeks, which means I can't walk. Now, on the upside, FMLA gives me pay. So, I will be paid for a few weeks. Now, from what I've been explaining, this twice, and these two stories don't match up, so I don't know which scenario is going to be happening. So, scenario A that I was told, I would get 4 weeks of pay, and then after, I would just not be, pointed or anything until the doctor says I'm okay. The other story I got told is because of my seniority, I have 8 weeks of pay, but I have to have a waiting week, so the first week will be no pay. If you're familiar with unemployment, it's a similar idea. Well, basically, you get a week where you don't get paid because it's a cheap fuck you. Hey, fingers. I tell you, index sometimes mixes your fingers up if you don't have your hands in a certain position. But even that is still not bad, though. I can use vacation days that I still have left to fill in the. So either scenario can work fine. Obviously, the second scenario would probably be better, because I could also, be like, hey, doc, the doctor, I could be like, hey, doc, I can go up to 8 weeks of that, and, they might go. Now, of course, what that would mean is vacation. Now, of course, it's not nice to get this kind of scenario for getting gutted open, you know. Um, and I was desperate to get time off, but yeah, I didn't want to be gutted open for it. But it's something I need to get done. So, but if it goes well, I will it will be looking like I will have at least 6 weeks off, which is basically to like the second week of December. Or that should be 42 days. So that would be like somewhere like during the second week of December. So yeah, that's a good chunk of time. So that's a good chunk of time because it's West October, basically all of November and that. So depending on how I feel though, would be how soon I could do something. Now, obviously, sitting on your ass and live streaming some games shouldn't be very complicated after surgery. Probably would be a great activity for that kind of thing because, you're trying to wait for your body to heal so you don't stretch and pull something. Obviously, I won't be able to attend the LAX workouts, the VR dance, or at least I can't actually do the actual activity. I mean, I could hang out, but I'm not even sure if I could actually use my VR headset because the doctor doesn't want me lifting anything that's more than 10 pounds. I don't really know how much my headset weighs. My dad said that 10 pounds would be kind of like a liter of soda, so I'm like, So I'm not sure if my VR headset would be fine, so I'm not even sure if I can be in VR much at the time. That's something I need to ask my doctor still about. But, yeah. So that's pretty much what's going on, what's happening, and hopefully it all goes good. Then, if that all goes good, all I have left is to pay off all the bills for the 3 months of this shit. Now, of course, the upside is, as I always say, I'm not in some horrible financial position like Dark Side Phil. Come on, everyone, we're not making the goals, the stream goals. I'm going to be kicked out of my house, and my car is going to be possessed. Jasper's going to be sent to some foster care home, and Ed Dion house is going to collapse. Just lock the spoon in. But, yeah, I'm not in a horrible position, but I mean, to be fair, it is a decent chunk of money. So it does suck, but it's not like anything that's going to destroy me. And hospitals are usually pretty fine as long as you set up a thing and pay a little here and there at least. But I'm probably going to pay it off in a few chunks of that. But of course, if you wish to donate via any of the normal things I have for content creating, you're of course welcome, but of course is not a necessity of that. But much appreciated if anyone does. I like trying to be there for people when they need help. Like when Gon's father was in a bad position, I helped donate some to him. So, I'm not necessarily against anyone who may want to help, but it's not a necessity. I'm sure many of you have your own problems with COVID and real life jobs and the recession. And, that's just referring to people here in America. If you live in Europe, you're probably in a worse situation with winter coming up soon, and so many of the countries are fucking doing like laws about how hot and cold you can have your house in during this winter and shit. I'm sure you have lots more things to be worried about than me, so I'd rather you take care of yourself because I'm not in a dire need. But yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not necessarily going to say no if somebody wants to help out a little, but I don't want you doing it at the cost of you if you got greater needs and things. But it's much appreciated even if you didn't. So, but anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything. So all I can say is hopefully everything goes well at the surgery. From what I read, like the average time, removing the gallbladder itself is about a 40-minute venture, but the whole entire thing can be about 4 or 5 hours with the prep, setting it up, doing the gallbladder, Well, there's also the going to sleep part, and then the waking up and dismissing you and getting you the fuck out. So in theory, I mean, it shouldn't even take the whole day, but it kind of depends. But yeah, so we have a weekend here. I'm not sure 100% what day this will get uploaded, but of course it's going to be before Tuesday of that. But we have one weekend to have some fun, enjoy still some streaming and that. So, and I'm going to take a few hours off of Monday because I got to put my vacation different ways. Now, if the waiting week thing turns out to be the way this is going to work, I'm going to probably use 3 days on the first week because I'm going to work Monday, but I have those weird pass things I talked about before where they were trying to be like, have perfect attendance this week, get a 1 hour pass. Work the overtime days, get an extra pass on top of it. I have 4 of those left, so I think I'll use those on Monday, use some of my extra vacation days on the other 3 days, so the waiting week will be full pay, and I just throw whatever the hell else I have in December and pull my half days that I have because I'm not going to be at work, so they're not going to be functional until like December, so which kind of works out because, I mean, they were talking about the last 2 weeks of December, they're probably going to not have work. So, if that continues, I mean, essentially I'll kind of have even the majority of December with no work, as long as that stays true. But that kind of depends on what goes on there. So, but I think that pretty much covers everything in relation to that. So, again, I want to thank you all. I greatly appreciate all of you. Whether you view, help, talk, communicate, hang out, whatever you do. You be in the comments, be in the streams, be here in VR, wherever you are, however you interact with me, thank you. Because it's that interaction that keeps me going. A lot of people are suicidal, depressed, and I kind of fell in that. And I have my moments in that still. Occasionally here and there, but it's knowing that I am sharing fun things with people and helping people discover interesting games. I cover good, bad, mediocre, and average games. Like I do the whole spectrum. But probably the most special things when it comes to my reviewing content is when somebody's just like, I never heard of this game. It looks really interesting and everything. And it's like, thank you for introducing me to this. Like, I don't get those comments too often very much anymore. But once in a while, I still get one that. And I always enjoy those. It's a very good thing in my mind helping someone introduce to a really interesting game that isn't super well known. I remember in the older days with like Neo and 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors and that, like people who didn't know those and stuff. So, but yeah, I pretty much think that covers everything. So, it's still gotta get the surgery and that, but hopefully it'll get it done. Now, actually, I guess there's one thing though. So if you're not familiar with what your gallbladder does, it helps you produce, it helps you process fatty things that have fat in them. So when somebody gets a gallbladder removed, you don't need your gallbladder to survive, but every person kind of processes having their gallbladder gone differently. Some people, it doesn't really affect them at all, and they can just eat how they always ate. Some people sometimes have to modify their diet a little, and then in some worst case scenarios, some people have to really modify their diet a lot. So it kind of depends. They did say my liver in that also showed up in my x-rays and that when I went to take that 2-hour thing. Oh, man. I tell you, if you ever go to get something in your chest area, fucking scan shit, it was awful. Had to lay on this fucking table and they strap your arms to your sides so you can't fucking move them. You have to lay there completely still for an hour. And for my gallbladder, like, so they do an initial scan for 1 hour, and then they have you drink something, and you do it again later, and they watch how your body processes it. So look forward to that if you ever have gallbladder problems. You can't read, watch anything, browse your phone, or anything. So make sure you're tired, because good lord, is it boring. But yeah, they said my liver looked healthy and everything, so that sounds like to me the likelihood that I probably won't have too many problems. If I didn't have a healthy liver, that would probably be more concerning. And the reason for that is because without your gallbladder, your liver is basically picking up that slack that your gallbladder did. So that's essentially why if my liver is doing good, then it's probably not going to be too bad. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I should start eating shitloads of cupcakes and red meat and all the fatty, fat things. You know, I've been trying to do better on my diet. Pretty much, I think the only thing I'm not doing good is getting a lot of veggies in me. You know, I'm sadly that stereotypical American. It's like, oh, greens. Ugh. I do need to eat more veggies is probably my prime big thing. Avoiding sweets and sugar and soda especially have been things I feel like I've been doing much better on over the last several years, especially with soda. Like, I'm still so glad I dropped that shit when I was really young. Because fuck, I don't even know what it would have fucking done to me by now if I just kept religiously drinking that shit. Once in a while, you know, it's not the end of the world, but pajamas. Yeah, I'm wearing pajamas, even though, you know, Japanese outfit don't question me. But yeah, but of course, that doesn't guarantee I'll have no problems on that front. So that kind of subjective, but can't know that until after the surgery and after eating some. But either way, I've been trying to improve my diet anyway, so I don't think it'll likely cause a big problem. Of course, I want to maybe do a little bit better on the diet, though, because like I said, it puts more on your liver. And of course, if you know anything about your liver, you can't survive without your liver. Your liver helps, if I remember correctly, it helps break down things that your body needs, like vitamins and shit. So yeah, that breaks down, you're kind of fucked. So, yeah, that leads to a little bit of a problem. So, of course, I want to, obviously with no gallbladder, I want to ensure my liver goes well. So, you know, having maybe a little bit better on some things probably be a good idea. That. Anyway, though, yeah, I know, wamble, I know, wobble. But, thank you, everyone. So, if you have any questions or anything, though, feel free to leave a comment down below. And other than that, Godspeed, and hopefully everything goes well. That's all I can do is just hope and pray it goes well. But leave it to the hands of those beyond me. So, but take it easy. You all be safe. And stay warm, regardless of where you're in the world, because it's starting to get cold everywhere and that. Stay warm and that, and take care of yourself. It's going to probably be a rough winter. The year has been rough, and, you know, more drama and real life shit's happening, so. But take care, be safe, keep warm, take care of yourself, and stay healthy. Until next time, everyone, hopefully we will return to the proving grounds to become an Elden Lord, and to see a greater and mightier world beyond us.